Well, welcome into the John Sadler Show. We're glad you're joining us for tonight's ball game, and it's another good one. You got the Lake Belton Broncos coming in, but before we talk about the Broncos, before we get on them and saddle up, let's go on back to last week and those Ellison Eagles. I mean, barn burner, scoreboard breaker, 110 total points scored. Something like 1,400 yards of rushing. You had told me you had almost 600 or 700.
Yeah, we had 734 total yards of offense, which is the most I think I've ever had as a play caller. But it was crazy. It was just one of them games where it was score or something was going to get out of hand in a hurry. So it was just you had to answer. If they went out and scored, you had to go out and score, and it was just back and forth like that. And it was a good ball game. It was entertaining for those who came and watched it. If you wanted to see some passing and some fun offense, but if you're a defensive minded guy, it wasn't a very good night to come out and watch football. That's for sure.
Track meet.
Yeah. There was kids running up down the field, wasn't there?
Man, I tell you, they're fast on both sides of the ball. Y'all had some fast kids too, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on why you didn't get the victory though. Well, because everything I saw, if I was sitting there watching that like I was, I thought you had control of the game and you were going to win this game.
Well, it comes down to the little things, and that's the things we've been preaching to our kids. It always comes down to the little things, and not only in football but in life and everything else. We had the ball 3 different times in the red zone, that we didn't score. Yeah. 2 of those were fumbles inside the red zone, one on the first drive of the game with us, and then one late there in the fourth quarter where we fumbled on the 2-yard line. And then we had a drive, got down to the 2 and went 4 and out. Didn't produce points. I mean, when you do that, those 3 touchdowns there, even had 3 field goals, and you're looking at a totally different outcome. Yeah. So, I mean, it's all self-inflicted. It's all things that we need to control and fix and hopefully get better at. But, overall, I mean, as far as you just look at effort, I mean, just effort alone, I mean, our kids played as hard as they could, and so did the kids across the way. I mean, it was a very, good rivalry game, spirited game. Kids got everything they could out of it. They did a great job. So I'm very proud of that. But like I say, I don't fault our kids. I talk about the 3 drives there. The fumble on the first drive, Boatner had a fumble right there. If you go back and watch the tape, I mean, he's trying to break tackles.
Yeah.
He's trying to break tackles. He's making a spin move right there and breaking a tackle. If he gets out of that thing without anything happening like that, he goes and scores.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was pure effort. Effort. So, I mean, you can't fault the kid for that. D'Angelo late in the game there with the fumble on the 2-yard line, he's trying to extend the pocket. He's trying to extend the play. He's trying to do something to help us find an open receiver to throw and get a touchdown and go ahead at that point in time. And it's just an effort thing. Guy caught him from behind. I mean, it's one of those things that happens. I mean, you sit back and you look at that and you go, man, I wish we had. But I don't fault kids in those situations. They're trying their hearts out. They really did. I mean, you go back and look at just the pure effort of it. And I mean, those kids did everything they could. And it's unfortunate that we didn't come out on the right side of it. Do I feel like we should have? Absolutely. But I mean, that's part of the kind of the learning process for a young team. Is learning how to deal with an early lead like we did against Vista, coming out 21-0, and how to come out of halftime and learn how to play like that, and then also being these games like this where it may be a shootout and you got to go down there and every single possession counts, and learning how to make every single possession matter, whether it be 3 points or 7 points or whatever it is, but finding a way to just have more points than they do.
Yeah, that's what it's at the end. That's what you have to
do. But again, it's a learning process for our young kids, and I think they're trying. I think they're doing everything they can, and we've got to do a better job as coach and staff to get them more prepared for it.
Yeah, well balanced too. I mean, you had some good big plays, you had some big runs and good throws. So I felt like you put almost 4 quarters of football together. You thought the week before you only had 2 quarters of football. You wanted to put 4 together. Yeah, I think you did.
Well, and we played pretty well for 4 quarters. We've just got to get now. You talk about 4 quarters. We talk about all 3 facets of the game. Talk about offense, defense, and special teams. And we've got to play well in all 3 facets. I thought offensively we were good at times, and there were times that we weren't. 52 points is a good number. I thought it could have been more. Defensively, you give up 58. There's a lot of things you got to talk about there. You got to have some tough conversations. You got to find out where your problems are, and you got to go fix them. We've got to play 4 quarters of good football in all 3 facets of the game. And we still haven't done that yet, and hopefully we can do that tonight.
Lake Belton Broncos up for you tonight. Of course, Micah Hudson's gone. You don't have to worry about him, but they're still talented.
Very, very. They've got some good receivers over there still. They got Mascarenas, their quarterback from last year's coming back. A couple of those offensive linemen they had from last year coming back. Defensively, they've changed their scheme a little bit because they lost a couple of big interior guys, but they have those just solid kids that can play solid defense, and they do everything the way they're coached to do. So, very disciplined, and you just got to go out there and find out where they're not and try to, poke and prod and find your different ways of getting first downs, and then just, keep taking the ball down the field methodically.
Adjustments you made during the ball game were phenomenal. Just don't know if it's offense, defense, head coach, assistant coach, whatever. Yeah. But the adjustments you made during the game to match up what Elson was doing, what I was watching from the press box most of the time, so I got a good view of it all.
Right.
And phenomenal, man. When you had one guy just, if they're going outside, well, okay, I'm going to put another back row over there. I'm going to cover him. I got him covered.
Right.
And so they had to go somewhere else.
Right.
And so you had him guessing the whole time.
Yeah, and that's part of the chess match that you play, and the whole saying is you try to play chess, not checkers, so... but I thought our kids did a good job of listening, in game and at halftime and things like that, trying to make those adjustments, and hopefully we can have a very solid game plan going into this week, and go out and execute, and then be able to make those adjustments in game like we did last week, and hopefully be able to come out with a victory.
You got to be proud of your sophomore quarterback being able to handle the team like he did.
He's done a great job, and the big thing
youngster.
for him. He threw for 571 yards that night.
Oh, gosh.
It's unbelievable. It's
you didn't realize it until you looked at the stats,
yeah,
and you're like, my golly.
I never think about it in game.
Right.
We threw the ball 53 times. You don't hear of that, happening with a sophomore quarterback. You just don't do that. You try not to put that much on his plate, but he's a kid that's a product of our system. He does a great job. And we're very proud of him for being able to handle the system. Really and truthfully, he's done a great job with it. And, we're just hoping that we can continue to put him in a spot where he can be successful. And that's the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do as a play caller, is trying to, just make it easy for him to where he can pick it apart. And he can, see all the stuff that I'm wanting him to see, and he can just get the ball where it needs to go so we can be successful.
Yeah, and I can talk about Bodner, I can talk about Higgs, I can talk about all those guys that just had wonderful games. Antoine Warren had a great game.
Yeah.
I'm crossing, looking at your stats here. Of course, I already knew this, but just a total team effort, you know, more than anything else, because you were bringing guys in on defense when you needed to. Not two platooning all together, but moving those guys in and getting some fresh legs in there and getting keep an eye on pretty close.
Well, we have to. Like the other night, we played 106 offensive snaps.
Unbelievable.
And the funny story is my dad used to always get mad at me because we didn't play both ways. He said, well, when I played, we played both ways, and it didn't matter. We were going to be hard-nosed football players. Well,
we didn't wear helmets.
Yeah, well, and I told my dad too. I said, y'all huddled, and y'all only played about 50 snaps a game, period, end. Right?
There wasn't no timing. There wasn't no play clock.
No, and you were running that play clock down to 0, and it just, you played about 50 to 75 snaps. Well, now we're playing 100-plus snaps of offense, just offense. There were 250 snaps of football in that entire game. When you start putting offense, defense, and special teams together, you're talking about 250 snaps that kids have to play. So, we had to watch that. That's the first time I've had offensive kids cramp in a ball game in a very long time. But when you look at the stats of it, 100 snaps, my goodness, they were worn out.
I was tired of watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just watching. It got tired. It got long, that's for sure. But, what I can say is our kids really, really did a great job persevering. They found a way. Like, we had some kids cramping, and they get out, get them cramps off, and get right back out there. So, I was proud of them. I was proud of their effort and the fact that they, just continued to fight. Again, we didn't get the result that we wanted, but, hopefully we can have a better plan going into Lake Belton. We know they're a good football team, and hopefully we can go out and execute it at a level that allows us to win.
What was great was to be at that ball game and flash back in my mind to 1980, 81, when those stands were packed on both sides and we had bleachers in the end zones. I felt really good about the crowd the other night. We had a good crowd for the Killeen Ellison game. probably the best crowd we've had in 5 or 10 years out there.
And they got to see a good football game, and that's the best part.
They got their money's worth.
Killeen got to see a good football game, and that's what we hope to do every Friday night, or in this case Thursday night. Is put a good product on the field that people can be proud of.
Well, I know you got to score more points than they do. I know that part. You got to get more yards on offense. I got 700 yards. If you could duplicate that, you've got Lake Belton, baby.
Well, that's yet to be seen. We got to make sure we take care of business. I mean, yardage don't matter, points do.
Yeah.
You have all the yards you want, but if you bend and don't break, then it is what it is. We got to put the ball in the end zone when we're supposed to, put the points on the board, and let it stand from there.
Have we thought about going to a refrigerator Perry type running back to get into the end zone there down when it's close?
We're going to make some adjustments. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I won't go. I can't. I have no eligibility left, so I can't do it. But
yeah. Well, I promised the kids that we wouldn't put ourselves in that situation ever again.
And you took that on your shoulders.
100%. It's all my fault. At the end of the day, when you lose 58-52 or you lose 6-0, it's all the head coach's fault. So I'm going to find a way. No matter what I have to do, I'm going to find a way to make it better, and we're going to find a way to get in the win column.
Man, you're a man.
I appreciate that.
You got character, buddy.
Well, I mean, and big thing for me is I have to model it so these kids get it.
Yeah.
If you don't show them and you don't model it for them and you don't teach them and hold them accountable, then you can't expect them to go be great either. So
your kids lost that game the other night. They came over and thanked me for everything I did.
Well, I'm glad.
And thanked me for being there.
I'm glad they did.
And I was just blown away. Kanga coming over to see me always.
Well, I'm glad.
And you were so wonderful. And to see your kids, I tell you what, Josh turns into a totally different guy. I mean, he can be madder than fire.
Yeah.
But if he sees his boys coming at him, everything just changes. And that's why I wait till the boys come up and do the interviews, Coach.
Yeah, well, the boys definitely soften the blow.
Yeah.
Well,
they're there for the victories too, boy. They're celebrating with you too.
They are. But good, bad, ugly, and different. They're still my boys. They're still my sons, and I'm always going to love them no matter what. But they definitely make things like that a little bit better. Put things in perspective, so to speak. It's still just a game. Yeah. Even though we pour our hearts into it and our soul into it, it's still just a game. And that's what they remind me, whenever I get to see them. It's just
grounds you again.
Yeah, and I get to go home, and I'm a blessed man because I have that family at home, that support system.
Oh, your wonderful wife. Got to talk about her, but she's great.
Well, I can tell you right now, I would not be a coach if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Because, being married and having 2 kids like I do, and I'm never at home. So, I mean, the fact that she takes care of everything that she takes care of, I could not do what I do without her. So, it does ground you. That support system is there. And just understanding how blessed I am, not only up here at this school being around these kids and around these folks, but having that support system at home, and that's just a blessing on and of itself. I thank God every single day for putting me where I am today and blessing me the way He has.
Well, tonight we're putting the boat in the water.
Let's do it.
I'm bringing it out. I'm putting it on the lake.
Let's go.
And we're going to take Lake Belton tonight, Coach.
Let's go do it.
Do you want me to do the pregame, or are you going to do it?
You can do whatever you need to do. You know how I am, Dan.
Well, I'm going to fire up the props. I'm double propping it tonight.
Let's go.
I got 2 engines.
Let's go.
Evan Roos, and I'm ready to go. We're going to float across that lake so quick.
Let's go.
That you won't know what to hit you. Faster than Micah Hudson, by God.
I love it.
Give me that final talk.
Hey, and as always, go Roos.
You are watching I-14 Sports Network.